All right.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome. This is another episode of CB8 Zooms. Is a project of Community Board 8, which runs from 59th Street to 96th Street, from Central Park to the East River, and also includes Roosevelt Island. And today we have the delightful presence of the new assemblyman actually, this is a new assemblyman for our district, I think. It's Edward Gibbs, who is joining us from his office. And he represents, well, actually, that's my first question. Welcome, Representative Gibbs. But my first question to you is, where is your district? I am totally confused by the redistricting that's gone on. So tell us a little bit about what areas you cover.
Well, first and foremost, Lori, thank you for the opportunity. It's a pleasure to be here with you. Let me share this moment just by stating I absolutely admire, adore, and love your son, Alex, my colleague. I think he's going to be a great legislator, and I just can't wait to work with him beginning January.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me. So the 68th Assembly District in East Harlem spans from East 132nd Street in the north at Madison Avenue and to the south at about 92nd Street from Fifth Avenue. I also cover north area of Central Park, Randall's Island, and Marcus Garvey Park, or the Mount Morris Park, what they used to call in that neighborhood.
Okay. And so that's really quite a diverse, you've got Yorkville, you've got East Harlem, you've got Roosevelt Island.
Well, I don't cover Roosevelt Island. I cover Randall's Island.
Randall's Island. Oh, it's not Roosevelt Island. Oh, I'm sorry.
Right.
That's my mistake. Okay. So Randall's Island. Okay. So that's where, Alex used to play baseball there all the time.
Yes.
All right. So, how do you try to, it's still, a very diverse district. How do you coalesce, how do you bring together the various, groups? Like, are there different things that you have to do for different groups, or is it something that you try to bring together? Talk about that a little bit.
No, you're right, Lori. We do have a diverse background here in East Harlem. We have people of all backgrounds, ages, and occupations. We have Hispanics, Blacks, whites, and a growing Asian population. I like to think that people come together on issues regardless of their backgrounds, and New Yorkers are facing the same challenges. And, for instance, we are all struggling with the high cost of housing, which has only been exaggerated by the pandemic and inflations. So, this district covers, a variety of everybody, and, we love working with them.
Okay, that's a challenge. It's definitely a challenge.
Yes.
So you've made history by being the first formally incarcerated person elected to the New York State Assembly. Now, I believe in second chances. I believe in redemption. But some people are skeptical, what do you want to say to those people who are skeptical?
Well, skepticism is healthy, but I am a prime example of second chances. That is why it's dear to my heart that we can help incarcerated people that to have access to education and mental health services. The other part of that is, Lori, is that formerly incarcerated folks need support too. They need help with job training and placement, and we need to do more we need to do more to remove the stigmas about formerly incarcerated people. So, my whole thing with this is, look, we have a unique opportunity to inspire others to come home and do something uniquely different and to believe in that process. And I'm hoping that they can use me as an example as well as an inspiration.
Well, you certainly are an inspiration.
Thank you, Lori. We can hang out every day.
Seriously, yeah. You got your education. You finished your GED and your associate's degree while you were in prison.
Yes.
And what led you to put your toe in the water for politics? Like, what got you interested in politics?
That's a good question, Lori. So, when I came home, I had an opportunity to work with one of the best criminal attorneys in the city and state of New York, that is Murray Richmond, and Murray and his daughter Stacy Richmond, who's a powerhouse attorney in her own right. They taught me the process of believing in oneself, believing in your ability, and more importantly, Murray Richmond represented politicians, mobsters, and rappers. And one of the political figures that he represented at that time was criminal attorney, former assembly member Adam Clayton Powell Jr. And, Murray made the connection. He said, hey, look, this is from your district. He represents your district. Why don't you go back to the district and, learn some things and possibly think about running one day. I said, Murray, but it's impossible. I had a record. I just came home from prison. I'm trying to do things. And he was like, well, if you stay out of prison long enough and you stay here working long enough, you can get your rights back. And I was like, how's that even possible? And his daughter, Stacy Richmond, told me, she said, hey, look, if you fill out a certificate of good conduct, and if the state and docs approve it, you have all your rights back. They lift all bars of licensing and employment. So I was like, wow, this is something to aspire to. And so, I worked with Murray for numerous years. And when the time came, we filed for the certificate of good conduct and received it within 3 months. From what I gather, it was the first time that process was ever expedited. But I think Murray made a phone call on the back end. But either way, I was pleased that he did it. So once we received the certificate, he said, hey, go back and do some advocacy in East Harlem and see what happens. And so I did just that. And, I ran for office a couple of times and lost the first few times and learned some things along the way, and ultimately won my district leader seat, which allowed me to charter a few Democratic clubs, which propelled me to sit in the seat today through organizational skills and people building.
That's such an inspiring story. I'm really impressed.
Oh, Lori, you and I got to hang out more, Lori. I like this.
So I went to your website, and on your website, you have a very interesting little bit that you say you encourage fellow lawmakers to visit prisons on your website, because you say, and I quote you, "We just don't know if we don't go," which I thought was a very good expression. So what do you mean by that? What do you mean if you just don't go? We don't know.
Well, we have many legislators who make laws for people in prison, yet they never visited a prison and never seen the actual condition in our state's correctional facilities. They never see the human connection or learn about what matters directly to the incarcerated individual. So, it's like, you're sitting home and you're making instructions on something that you've never been a part of. In order to get it right, you should at least visit, talk to the incarcerated individuals, talk to the staff, talk to the correction officers, and see what we can do together to make it a common sense approach in terms of rehabilitating these individuals. So what I was saying is, if you're going to legislate by experience. Go there and say, hey, you've talked to numerous incarcerated individuals, you talk to staff members, you got the gist of the correctional facilities, and now we want to legislate accordingly, not blindly.
Yeah, well, that seems to make sense. What would you like to do specifically about Rikers? Well, I mean, it's been a big thing in the news, and there have been so many just horrific stories that come out of Rikers. What do you think needs to be done? I mean, well, there's discussion about closing it. You just tell me what you think. How should we approach Rikers?
Well, and it's just me, I think we should give the commissioner as well as our mayor an opportunity to right the wrong. So the mayor was, he was elected to be the greatest mayor of the greatest city in the greatest state in the greatest country of the world, right? So you have this mayor who's tasked with doing numerous things, and one of them is Rikers Island. We have to give him time. This is decades and decades and decades of problems in my island. And you have a mayor who's been here 9 months, and you guys are really trying to rush him to get a solution from decade problems. We've had 3 mayors in the past 15 years, 18 years, I believe. De Blasio, Bloomberg, have you. They couldn't find the solution. I think it's unfair that we are literally attacking our mayor over this serious problem on the island. I want to say serious problem on Rikers Island, but we have to give the mayor and the commission an opportunity to right the wrong. I mean, just got in the seat, let him see what he can do. Of course, we want federal intervention. Of course, federal intervention comes with monies and a lot of resources, which he really needs, but give him an opportunity to right this wrong.
Okay. We have talked, our social justice committee has talked about the school to prison pipeline. What can be done to interrupt that pipeline?
Education is the key to interrupting the school to prison pipeline. Also, giving our youth support and engaging them in neighborhoods can be really effective. Here at my office, we hire youth. My comms director, Jack LaBelle, at the time was 17 years old. He's 18 now and full-time at Columbia University. We have America Munoz, who literally runs my office. She's 21 years old. Education is key, and support. Let's support our youth, give them something positive to engage in, keep them off the street, effectively shutting down the school to prison pipeline.
Okay, there's a big controversy going on right now over the new 5G big towers that they put up, or they're putting up on the Upper East Side. And from what I understand, the companies who are doing it are saying, well, this is because we want to bring access to underserved communities. But the Upper East Side is not an underserved community. You know, obviously there are major underserved communities, your district being one of them, I would imagine. So what can we do about that? Like, well, how can we get this to be, and I'm not claiming to even understand how it all really works. I'm not the, you know, the technical genius that the, you know, some people I know are, but you know, how can we just make the point that we do really want everyone to have access to Wi-Fi, but not if it's going to come at the expense of, you know, these big, ugly towers that aren't even going to reach the people who need it.
Well, like yourself, Lori, I don't know too much about that. I'm not a technical person, but I know common sense is common sense, right? And so, and it reminds me of these metathon programs in our clinics, right? We have a saturation of them, right? Nobody else wants them in their district, right? But yet people need those services, but yet nobody wants them in their district. And it's the same thing right now with these towers. You know, they are ugly. Nobody wants them downtown. They're cancerous. We don't know the results of this and that. I know there was a study in Texas where their lines going across homes would cause a cancer for one particular district. In another state had something similar. It's, you know, and what bothers me is the fact that they put underserved communities in there, right? So we want to help the underserved populations,
right? But
we want to be a hindrance to this part of the district. And so it's always going to be that battle back and forth, privilege and non-privilege. And, you know, in our district along Third Avenue, we have these kiosks, which provides a lot of the Wi-Fi services for the communities. And they don't look as obstructive and ugly as the towers you have over there down there. But yeah.
All right. Well, I guess we'll have to just see how this plays out. There was a lot of controversy about it a couple of days ago.
I've seen it, but the city has also implemented the Big Apple Connect program that has worked to bring free Wi-Fi to NYCHA residents. Maybe we could do something similar to, you know, ease that complaint.
Yeah, I haven't actually heard anybody saying that it's going to specifically bring it to the NYCHA, you know, developments. So
the Big Apple Connect program, I think it was developed because of or for NYCHA, correct?
Oh, okay, all right. Well, that's hopefully
Yeah, Johnson has it. Johnson Houses is one of the first NYCHA developments to have it. So I guess as it grows, it'll trickle down to the other developments.
Okay. So let's talk about your district a little bit more. There's been a lot of new business activity in East Harlem. When and if the Second Avenue subway gets extended to 125th Street, you know, cross your fingers. Can you foresee the impact that will have on your district?
We're so excited, and and we will see the development of the second Avenue, the second phase of the Second Avenue subway. We've been attending meetings and progressively reading all the literature that MTA is sending our way, and we're excited. The impact of the Second Avenue subway will be huge, though, Lori. During construction, we will have major disruptions along Second Avenue corridor. So we are working with the residents and business owners to make sure that we mitigate disruptions and displacements. There's a lot of lessons to be learned from CB8. As your community went through that process, we will have a better understanding and access to public transportation. And so we're very excited. What y'all went through phase one, we're going through here at phase two. So we learned from some of the things that y'all went through. When the project is completed, I think we will have a better access to public transit. Prior to the pandemic, Lori, the 6th line was the busiest subway in the world. The 6th line was the busiest subway line in the world, and that runs along Lexington Avenue throughout my district. And it was so overcrowded, and everyone that lives on the east side knows that it's not easy to get directly to the west side of Midtown Manhattan without taking buses or transporting trains. So we're excited about this second phase, and we wanted to get it started and over with. We add our emphasis with MTA, how we would like to see our stations look. We talked about the disruptions, the displacements. We want to hold a few more town halls. So we're excited. We're already seeing new construction along Second Avenue, and I anticipate that there will be maybe a lot of new people moving into East Harlem as we build this new subway line. It is vital that we keep the culture of East Harlem alive, and I think, and do whatever is possible to prevent displacement. So that's going to be the biggest complaint: displacement, noise, construction, and rodents.
Yeah, that's true. But I think that it's really, I mean, one thing that I've been thinking about is that, there used to be this kind of like a 96th Street line that was like, just, it was like,
that's it.
Right, exactly. Like, you don't set 1 foot over 96th Street, It's
so
like
we have finally come to cross uptown.
Exactly.
And,
so
the folks are excited. So, and maybe we could go to Coney Island from East Harlem. Right. Who would ever thunk,
Amazing, right? Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes.
No, it's great. I mean, I'm really looking forward to that.
You and me both. And I felt, I'm sorry, Lloyd, and I failed to mention that it also is going to provide tons of jobs and employment.
Yeah.
And for my second chance individuals, for the residents of East Harlem, and for the neighboring communities, the job that the second phase is going to bring to us is going to be huge economically.
Right. Now you said you have a number of local projects that you want to promote, I understand. So promote away.
So what's big for me, Lori, is the Second Avenue subway, of course, right? And then we have the viaduct, we have the Thomas Jefferson Park, along the whole corridor there. Our infrastructure is falling in the water. And so we had put it, I think Robin allocated $7 to $10 million in the past 4 years for this project to be done along the walkway in Thomas Jefferson Park. We want that fixed so people go out there and fish and dock and walk along the water without fearing of falling into it. So that's one of the projects there. We want to see our parks fixed. But in addition, we have a renaming initiative as well. Thomas Jefferson, we want to get his name off of Thomas Jefferson Park and off of Thomas Jefferson houses, as well as Woodrow Wilson houses. We've come to a time and a point in society where we want to remove all slave owners, women who have done horrible things to people. We want to remove their names off of infrastructures and buildings, and especially in my community. Nowhere we have no room for Thomas Jefferson or Woodrow Wilson houses. Some two young men did some awful things to African-American women and men. And so I don't think we should appreciate their presence by having their names in our community. So that's one of the big initiatives that I've taken since I've gotten this seat, just to do the renaming. And so the process, Lori, is how do you remove someone's name and add another name? And that's the process we're going through. here at the office, we figured we should let the youth, we should allow the youth an opportunity to pitch in and decide who these parks and nature development should be named after. And so we had a meeting with District 4 and a bunch of principals, and we started an essay process where the kids will write a short essay talking about a hero who they would like to see these developments on the park be named after. It takes it off our plate. I won't be the guy deciding what name be placed in this guy's place. Ruben Diaz, the former Bronx Borough president, came up with this wonderful idea. Said, let the kids decide. Do an essay, let them figure it out, be no drama. But that's one of the big initiatives that I'm doing. The naming, it says a lot about a community. And if we come together and make this happen, a community that pray together is a community that stay together.
Stay together. Oh, that's great. That sounds great. I think that you'll face some opposition with that, but I think
Certainly.
that it's a good way to do it, to have the young people, be involved, because it's really, when you're talking about parks, especially, that's their playground. It's like, so they should have the right to do it. I mean,
I'm sure the former president and his friends will have something to say.
Yeah. Okay. So what else do you want to tell us? Anything else you want to tell us that we haven't covered? I'm going to see if we have some questions. I don't know. I haven't seen any yet, but let me just go over here. In the meantime, is there anything you want to say?
Well, look, I'm excited that I can say to you, I'm excited that we launched this Second Chance Democratic Club. It's a citywide event. We are opening up the doors for all formerly incarcerated, currently incarcerated, or just any other constituent who wants to join. Second Chance Democratic Club is a citywide movement which allows and inspire formerly incarcerated individuals to get involved either politically, civically, or whatever place you want. But we want you to get registered. We want you to register to vote. We want you to get involved. And, it's a big initiative. It's supported by a lot of legislators, a lot of Congress members. And I'm excited about that. I'm excited about all our initiatives here at the office.
Is it going to involve parents and families of the formerly incarcerated people? Will they be
Certainly.
part of the Second Chance?
Certainly, yes, because that's what it's all about, right? So in part of rehabilitating incarcerated individuals, families play a key part. Right now, DOCS put out an initiative where they stop allowing incarcerated individuals to receive packages from family members. Mm. So if I was a dad who had a son in prison, I would send him packages from home just to remind him that he have a family who loves him, who cares about him, and wait for him to return home. DOCS put an initiative where we can't send packages anymore. We have to order them from Amazon or some other links and send it in, which cuts off, it eliminates the family touch, right?
Right.
It's taking people out of that family rehabilitative process. And so, these things we are looking at on my end, and we're going to ask that Commissioner Lucci and DOCS revisit that initiative. We want families to play a key role in rehabilitating these incarcerated individuals if we're going to make this thing work.
Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, no, I think the families are key. You have to have, like, nobody grows up in a vacuum. It's always
nobody.
Your experiences. Okay, so we don't have any questions, which I'm surprised about, but let me go to I don't know if you have ever watched the Colbert Report, but I sort of stole this from them. And I asked some rapid fire questions at the end, and you just give the first thing that comes to the top of your head, okay?
Is that Stephen Colbert? I've seen that on a couple of shows where they had these rapid questions, rapid answers. And,
Okay, so the first one's pretty easy, okay? What's your favorite sandwich?
Peanut butter and jelly.
Oh, good, okay. Apples or oranges?
Can't compare, but I love oranges.
Okay. Still or sparkling?
Definitely sparkling.
Yankees or Mets?
For more Yankees.
Soccer or basketball?
Both.
All right. Cats or dogs?
Both. You won't have them to roll the door chasing me. No,
You're very
no.
diplomatic.
You won't have them to roll the door chasing me. No. I like them both.
You're very diplomatic. All right. Well, wait a minute. Wait, we have one question. I think I have one question here. Let's see.
The chat.
Just 1 second. We're having a technical difficulty here. Oh, okay. Yeah, this is a question. Can you see it? Mrs. Brown, who's a member of our Community Board 8, and she says during August early voting, there were allegations regarding ageism at Scan Harbor, and there is a move underway to rid the elderly disabled poll workers because they are too old and slow. Since this is in your district, how are you going to address that issue?
So do I tell you the answer, or do I type the answer, or
No, you just do it live. Just, give us your reaction live.
Great. So, first and foremost, we don't tolerate ageism here in the Assembly office. Seniors are my priorities. 75% of my events are senior catered. So we don't play that. We don't play ageism. And as a district leader over the poll site Scan Harbor, we certainly going to check into that, Ms. Brown. I guarantee you one thing, Assemblyman Gibbs do not play those games. I carefully select poll workers. I carefully select monitors, and I will get into this. Our seniors have every right to work just as every youth do. So I thank you for the information, and I will certainly be having a conversation with Donna Ellaby in relation to this.
Okay, that's great. All right, thank you, Mrs. Brown, for the question.
Thank you, Ms. Brown, for that question, that wonderful question.
I guess that's all we have for today, but let me thank you very much for coming and talking to us, Representative Gibbs. And next month we have a very special guest, which is my son, but I'm not, I am not going to do the interview because that wouldn't, it would be fun. I know it would be fun, but it wouldn't be, I don't know, it would be, I don't know, they'd call it nepotism or something. But
you know what would be amazing, Lori?
What?
And granted, get Alex in on next week. He should be. Alex is a dynamic young man. He's going to be a dynamic legislator. Please do that. But also follow up with trying to get all the Assembly members from Manhattan, just Manhattan, to come on the show. All at the same time. And all you gotta do is mention Alex's name. We love him. So I'm talking about Grace Lee, Tony Simone, Al Teller, Inez Dinkins. You got us. Get us all on that line, and let's have a conversation.
All right, we'll work on it. We'll work on it. So anyway, that next one is it's the third Friday of the month. So it's January 20th. Alex Boris, interviewed by Billy Freeland of
Billy Freeland. Oh, Billy. Billy's a good guy. I remember Billy ran for city council, trying to take Ben Kalo's seat and all the other. Billy's a great guy. I think he'll be a great interviewer. And I know that Alex is going to knock it out because I am a fan of Alex. I believe in him and he's going to do well.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. This has been really fun. I'm glad that you, joined us, and we got a little, peek inside of your office and into how you think and what you're doing. And just thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me, Lori. And, again, together we win this thing. I appreciate you.
All right.
Have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
All right, bye, everybody.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us.